Hello, and welcome to another edition of One Bad Veggies Root Beer Review, where this week you'll get double your money, and you didn't pay anything, so you get no money. So the story with this one is that I usually get a shipment every month from the root beer store of a 6-pack of assorted root beers. And obviously over time, having been doing it for I think over a year now, sometimes you get doubles of stuff. You know, stuff that maybe you got 3 months ago, you get another bottle of after the fact. And Filbert's I actually reviewed, I believe, back in the blog a while ago. So I've had Filbert's before, but I'm always particular about noticing when a company changes their labels, because generally speaking, when a company changes their labels, that means that there's a good chance that someone else is making the root beer. So I went ahead and took a look at the labels, noticed the little tiny differences in it, and then looked at the ingredients and noticed that yes, there is a difference in ingredients. It's still the same maker, but it looks like the ingredients have changed. So I decided to keep both bottles of Filbert's Draft, and I'm going to review both of them, see if it makes any difference. Now, we'll get to ingredients in a second. You'll notice there's just a minor difference in the ingredients, but it's one of those differences in ingredients that can make a very big difference in flavor. So we might be dealing with two separate grades here, or maybe they'll taste exactly the same and I won't be able to tell the difference, which who knows. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started with the ingredients then. So I decided with this one, I'm going to go ahead and start with the one that I think will have more subtle, maybe less sweet of a profile. I'm going with what I'm calling the entire line, Filbert's Draft root beer. And here's the bottle here. As you can see, it says Filbert's Old Time Draft Root Beer. The ingredients, which should have already popped up already, they are, as you can see, the one you're going to be looking for the most is the fact that this one has pure cane sugar in it. It's not made with high fructose corn syrup, which is basically the difference between this one and the one we'll be reviewing second. This is what I remember. This is what I remember reviewing in the past. I'd actually have to go back and look at the blog to see if I reviewed this one or the other one we're going to do. But yes, Filbert's Old Time Draft Root Beer. Not much to talk about otherwise, other than that. Like I said, we're just going to talk about the ingredients mostly and see if there's any difference in the flavor. So let's go ahead and open this up and get a good scent going on. All right, let's go ahead and open up the draft, Filbert's Draft. I'm going to keep on probably repeating the name a lot because I'm going to do this in two halves. I'm going to do it in the first review of the draft, and then I'm going to do a review of what I'm going to call the quality draft, which is what the label says on the other one. But all right, let's see. Strange. Not super strong scent or anything like that. I do smell a little bit of licorice. So we're starting from that point. Who knows what we'll get in the end. Really, I need to go back and look at the blogs and see what I rated them originally the first time. But you know what? I don't want that to influence my reviews. So maybe I will never, ever, 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 ever do that. We'll see. Anyway, you're going to see my backup mug today. So I'm going to go get my backup mug and we'll go ahead and get into the taste test. So as you can see here, the backup mug is quite a bit smaller than the other mug, but it will still get the job done. I won't be able to fill the entire mug with the entire bottle, but you'll still see what kind of what kind of foam this thing makes from that. And but it has head. It's real fizzy real fast. Still just a tiny bit left in there. kind of creamy, actually. Not surprising after the way it smelled. But yeah, it's not bad. I'm a little bit more excited to actually taste it now. So let's go ahead to actually tasting it. I think I said taste test before. I meant we check the pour and the foam. All right. Let's go ahead and actually taste it now. All right. Filbert's Draft. Here we go. So here's what I'll say about Filbert's Draft. It's almost going to be kind of like sacrilege compared to a lot of the other reviews that I've made before. So I was saying that the foam tasted a little bit creamy. I was saying that the scent was a little bit like licorice. What ends up happening in the end is it's actually got a good balance of both. Maybe there's a little bit too much, maybe a little bit too much on the anise side. But I don't find it to be bad. I think there is something to be said about something that has like a really good mixture of the two. So I'm going to go ahead and think about this one, and we'll get to the actual letter grade. What I'll say about the draft is that, as I was saying before, it seems to have a really good mixture of the two things that I think you need to have to be a root beer. And usually you get one overpowering the other. You don't usually get a really good mix of them in between. And a good mix, for me personally, will usually get you a C. But I will say that it's got a good mix while you're drinking it, while you're tasting it. But after the fact, you do get kind of like a vanilla aftertaste, which I always really appreciate. So originally I was thinking maybe I would be giving this one a C because it is a good mix of both. It didn't quite like make me excited, but what it did do was it really is kind of like a very good standard root beer. But I will say that it's very good standard root beer, I guess is the best way I could say it. So I think I'm going to end up going ahead and giving Filbert's Draft a B. I think it's actually quite good for what it is. And yeah, I'm going to give it a B, and I'm sticking to it. And that's that. So normally this would be the part where I go ahead and end the video, but we're actually doing our second review. And so what I'm going to go do is I'm going to go drink some water, eat some saltines, take my dog out for a short walk for a second, and then we'll be right back, and we're going to just hop right into the ingredients of the second root beer. So, not to waste any time, go ahead, boom, ingredients right there. We are now looking at, and I'll show you, we are looking at the Filbert's, let me move this one up front so you know which one is the right one. Filbert's Quality Draft Root Beer. See, now, that, as far as, that was actually weirdly enough to trigger me, to make me realize that these might be two different things. Now you notice, actually I think what probably struck me was the bottle tops, whereas the draft root beer has the like green Filbert's logo on top and all that. This one is, it doesn't look like there's as much like design going into the label, and I noticed that the top didn't have the Filbert's symbol on top of it. Now, since then, I've gone ahead and I've taken my time and looked up to see if there's any difference in the companies that were making it, and I could not find any information on that at all. I believe that Filbert's is still the people who are making Filbert's root beer. They always have been. So this is kind of like a strange anomaly where the company either, and I also can't find any information on if they just make two different versions of their root beer or if at some point they moved from regular sugar to high fructose corn syrup, or vice versa. I don't know which one is the newer one off the top of my head. When you Google it, when you look up Filberts, you usually, if I remember correctly, you usually get a picture of you usually will find a picture of the draft root beer. So I'm assuming that the draft root beer is actually the older one, and that at some point they changed it to the quality draft. There's no dates on the label or anything for me to confirm this, so I can't even go by that. So anyway, very curious. Anyone has any information about it, leave it in the comments, I guess. All right, so let's go ahead and open it up and take a sniff. All right, let's go ahead and open up Filbert's Quality Draft. I'll say right now, opening this one up, there's a much more of a pop to it. I don't know if it's just less flat than the other one, but let's see. Oh, this one. Ooh, yeah, that's quite different. It's quite different. That's surprising. Much sweeter, which usually is true with drinks that have high fructose corn syrup in them over sugar. Usually sugar is a lot less sweet than high fructose corn syrup. So as of now, I think this is going to have a very different flavor from the draft. So let's go ahead and get to pouring it and see how different that is too. As you remember, the draft didn't have much of any foam, if at all, really. So let's see if this one looks a little bit more picturesque. So in a rare first, I forgot to actually hit the record button during the part where I was pouring. Try to explain what happened. There was a little bit of foam. It ended right about here. I went ahead and took a taste of it. It wasn't a long-lasting foam, wasn't too crazy, but I tasted it and it was very sweet, like surprisingly sweet. And I will say that it's got me pretty excited to actually taste it. So I think that this is going to taste very different from the draft. But yeah, sorry for missing the foam part. I know a lot of people really like that part, so I deeply apologize. You still got one though this time. You still got one pour, so it counts. It's not a foul. Anyway, let's get to the taste test. See, it's times like these that I wish that I had an extra bottle of this stuff laying around. But like I said, I only get it once a month from my suppliers at the root beer store. So I should start putting a link to their website in the description, because that's where I get most of my root beer, but not all of it. So whatever. Anyway, let's taste this. Let's just do this. Okay. These taste drastically different. It's not even comparable. Like what I was saying about the draft being this perfect mixture of creamy and anise and those kind of flavors and stuff. This isn't that at all. And I think the high fructose corn syrup actually gives it like a strange, bitter, artificial aftertaste. I don't know if that's what it is. I don't know if there's any other differences that they made to it. I don't know if they have to make differences to the mixture because it's not sugar anymore, because it's high fructose corn syrup. But assuming that the quality draft is the current version of it, let's get to the letter grade. I don't think there's any way that it's only high fructose corn syrup is the only difference between these two things. I think that there's definitely a completely different, there has to be a completely different formula that they used for this one, because it just does not taste like the same thing. And it is a significant downgrade to the draft. It's sweeter, but it's less creamy. hints of vanilla or anything like that. Just like more sugar. And like I said, now it leaves a bitter aftertaste rather than that creamy vanilla aftertaste. There's definitely the taste of anise and stuff in it, but it's weird. It's hard to explain. It does not taste natural. It just tastes very artificial. That's the easiest way to explain it. It's like when you drink like a Diet Coke or something like that, and you're just on, it almost kind of tastes like something, but there's something wrong with it, and it has almost that diet kind of quality where you're just like, something's not right. Something's not right. So, I mean, man. I'm going to give it an F. I'm going to give it an F. And I'm going to say, like, and I don't give a lot of things Fs because Fs are supposed to be for just, like, undrinkable garbage. And I don't know if it's the fact that they have the draft and the quality draft out, and one of them is just significantly superior to the other one, that's making me go with an F for this. You know, a D is usually meant to be just like, I don't see any reason to drink this ever again. And an F is supposed to be for undrinkable. And I guess this isn't undrinkable, but frankly, I'm just like, why? Why would you ruin what you have? Assuming that this is the one that's currently out there. I don't even know if that's true. I would need to go to a store and find some Filberts to see if they sell the draft or the quality draft. If the regular draft, Filbert's regular draft, is still the one that you can find out there, I wholeheartedly recommend it. Like I said, I gave that one a B. If all that's out there now is this quality draft stuff, I mean, it's not good. It's not good. So yeah, it's too much artificial. Something about it just struck me really wrong. Almost, my first sip was almost like I thought it was almost like a cola or something, and I don't know, something not right about it, and it's hard to put my finger on. It's just like everything that they did right in the regular draft is done wrong in the quality draft. So there you go. I mean, I really did not expect the differences to be so vast. I thought that this is just going to be, that the quality draft was just going to end up being just like a sweeter, an overly sweet version of the draft. I thought I was going to end up giving it a C or something like that, just being like, it's a little too sweet. But no, they're so different. It's so different. It's somehow sweeter. It's sweeter. The sugar, there's too much sugar. And all the other flavors are too muted, and it has a bitter aftertaste. And that's the simplest way I can explain it. So there you go. So that's it for this review. I had a good time with this one. I thought this was very interesting. I may be doing some streaming in the near future, hopefully more in the near future. I've been doing some more Gunpla lately, trying to finish up that real grade unicorn so I can start the master grade unicorn. And I think what I'm going to start streaming is maybe a little Stardew Valley, maybe a little bit of I have a wrestling draft idea that I kind of I've been working on for a long time, and I think maybe streaming it would help me keep on track with doing it. It's got a lot of spreadsheets involved with it, and I think if anyone wanted to get involved with it, that maybe they would have some fun. But I have to get to that point first, which I'll probably stream the actual creation portion of it before we get into the actual idea of leagues and drafting and all that cool stuff. So anyway, in the meantime, I hope you enjoyed this review as much as I enjoyed doing this review, and I hope you had a good time.